All right, welcome back to another Crypto Vagabonds Q&A. Remember, this Q&A occurs every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're just 2 minutes late. Let me see if my screen is ready to be shared. Where is it? Too many things going on with my computer. Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, and there is Cora. Okay, so let me get this. Lovely. Let me know when you can see my screen, guys.
Yes, we can.
All right. And Harry is also back. Harry has been a while, a few years at least. Okay. Let me get Zoom out of the way and start with this presentation. Come on, Zoom, get out of the way. So I hope there's nothing on the way now. All right, welcome back. Again, as every content, we do have a disclaimer. We need to put a disclaimer here that the content is just for informational, educational, and entertainment purpose only. Nothing here is financial, tax, or legal advice. Just remember that this Q&A occurs every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You also are able to interact live with me and a lot of members here of the Academy Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern in Clubhouse. If you have not joined our Clubhouse, please do. You also, of course, can see us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Be aware that we're going to be going out of Instagram soon. Again, not financial nor legal advice to be found here. Now, most people in the crypto space, they try to niche or specialize on something. I'm known as the risk-averse guy, because if there's a doubt, there is no doubt. And today we're going to be doing something quite different. We're going to be doing a headlines of the month. We're going to remember what happened the month, because right now things are very busy, very hectic on the crypto space and the banking system. So we're just going to refresh your memory on all, not all, but like the headlines that we think are significant for the month. So I was going to put the headlines here, but they're just too many. So I'm not going to list them. I'm just going to go straight into the headlines in this video. So, and again, it's not breaking news, but it is the headlines of the month. So what happened this month is the G7 nations were considering a total ban on exports of Russia, more sanctions for Russia. That was one of the headlines. We also have a lot of government crackdowns in crypto in the US, and some of that also in Europe. We have quite recently a lot of problems for Gary Gensler on the regulations of stablecoin. And there are at least 2 videos on our channel where we show that footage where Gary Gensler just gets shredded on the internet. Then also we have situation here in Europe where nations are withdrawing their money from the US, and that will cause some capital to flee from the US. The ECB start to distrust the American banks, and this is because in 2008, on the crisis, there was a situation where on that collapse, municipalities in Europe got affected by this. So Lagarde is like, things are not very safe in America, so she's trying to remove things from the US back into the European grounds. Also, there has been a lot of politicians manifesting themselves, at least in the US, against CBDC. It was not something new. There's a lot of politicians, not a lot, but a handful of politicians that are not prone CBDC, and they have voiced their concerns, and that becoming more intensified as the, how can I say, progress does occur on the CBDC venue. Also, we have, of course, the governor, Ron DeSantis, which was the one that tried to ban CBDC. There's a possibility where CBDCs in the US may be approved by states. Remember, it's the United States of America, so Ted Cruz also is not pro CBDC. And then, of course, we have here in Europe, regulations start to get approved for cryptocurrencies, and that is the MiCA regulation for those I'm not aware of. Again, here, more headlines on that. European regulation being approved or bringing more clarity to Europe. European lawmakers approving the world's first comprehensive framework for crypto regulation. And another thing which has occurred here, of course, the US banks are facing shifting hundreds of billions of assets to EU at ECB request. It's the same situation of the distrust on the banks. And again, Hong Kong is starting to pick the slack because in the US, the banking system have this operation choke, I think it's operation choke down tool. They're trying to choke another industry in the past, and now they're trying to remove the possibility of on-ramp, off-ramp in the US. And Hong Kong, China, if you want to count as China, is trying to pick up the slack. My only concern with this headline is that the banks in Hong Kong are still being controlled or being heavily influenced by the government. So again, over 80 crypto firms are going to Hong Kong according to these headlines. Hong Kong courts rules cryptocurrency as a property, which means it brings clarity. And again, lawmakers want to turn CBDC into stablecoin for DeFi. And of course, we have issues with de-dollarization. There are bit calls, and that of course is being occurring since US start to sanction the US dollar. That's when that concern became more realistic. And there's moves, and the most significant one, of course, it is the BRICS. The BRICS are the ones that are pushing really hard, trying to weaken, or at least crack the trust on the US dollar. And of course, here more headlines on that. This is a China-Brazil agreement. There's a bank in Brazil where settlements can be done on the Chinese yuan. I think it's the only bank in South America that can do that. And of course, we couldn't fail to mention, Apple has been able to provide savings account as savings account used to be 4 or 5 decades ago. The baby boomers did manage to cash on a period where you could just put money on your savings account, and your savings account was going to give you enough interest. However, that, of course, is not the reality for the generation now, but Apple seems to be able to pull that off with a partnership with Goldman Sachs, where they're offering 4.15% for savings account. And I cannot forget to mention, they also offer a metal credit card with that account. And Twitter is trying to become a broker. Twitter started to make a partnership with eToro, and they start to offer stock, crypto trading, and things of that sort. Now, between Twitter and Apple, I think this is, again, me trying to guess what's going to happen in the future. I think this is just the beginning for Apple. Apple also is going to start to offer stocks, and I think eventually Apple is going to have their own currency. I think Apple is looking for the same goal. And again, this is speculation. This is not the news. It's just me, in my opinion. I think Apple will be doing what Facebook tried and couldn't do it, because Facebook tried to create a currency, which is the end destination, and Zuckerberg went to the final destination. I think Apple is doing something different, where they have a destination, but they're partnering with banks and they're offering other financial services. Eventually, when they offer their own coin or their own token, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to react, because they already have a lot of dependence and a lot of clients on Apple. I think the same thing is going to happen with Twitter. Twitter eventually is going to create a currency that can transact within Twitter itself. And of course, we couldn't fail to mention that Gary Gensler pretty much got shredded or went to the guillotine on Congress. We have a video, at least 2 videos on the channel, where we discuss about what happened with Gary Gensler. And again, those are just 2 videos. The whole thing, I think, was 1.5 to 3 hours. It's a very long, but we just give 2 headlines for you guys on 2 videos. And of course, we also had on the hearing, I think Republican Davidson, that's the abbreviation here, is trying to introduce a law or legislation that gets Gary Gensler to have not as much power, pretty much removing his position or getting him fired. That's another way to put it. And Slovakia and Poland on the geopolitical front, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, they start to block Ukraine grains. And I was making a joke here with the meeting with the staff, like, I think Ukraine is going to be called Ugrain, because the grains are not able to flow anywhere. Ukraine produces a lot of grains, but they have difficulty in flowing through the sea, and they're having difficulties now to flow that grain to the land, because Slovakia, Poland, and Hungary offers them a straight line in terms of access to the rest of Europe. The problem is those countries, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, they produce their own grains, and as the Ukraine grains come with a discount, that affects the price of the grains that are being produced by Poland, Hungary, and in Slovakia. And of course, another issue is what is demand in terms of pesticides and chemicals used on grains in Europe is different than what is required in Ukraine. So because Ukraine doesn't have the same frictions or the same standards that are demanded from those countries, their grain are cheaper, not to mention they have to flow their grains in their war that can give you discounts. So that's affecting the price. And I think this headline shows one example where there's one thing which is political help, but in the end, the economy speaks louder. So when those three countries ban the import, you start to see how, in the end, economical incentives are stronger than the political incentives. And again, on Gary Gensler, if you want to see, this is the banner for our second video where I talk about his situation on the Congress hearing. And G7, they start to put a focus on global fossil fuel phase out deal. So there was a meeting in Japan, and they continue pushing the agenda of demonizing petrol, which I think, in my opinion, is going to cause more inflation and more instability on the market, because we are free to demonize petrol, but the green energy cannot deliver the same reliable energy that we get from fossil fuels, and not also for the same price. So, and you can see here more headlines on that. Oh, sorry, not this one. This one is a unicorn. So there's an idea that the financial, or the ones who control or regulators of the finance, they will push a monetary unit. So the same way that the US dollar is a unit of account globally, there is the idea or possibility that there's going to be one unit of account globally. And of course, they call unicorn, and there's a little of humor here putting a unicorn on that coin. Iran, there's another situation on the geopolitics. The conflict and the tension between Iran and Israel. I'm not going to talk a lot about this here, but I'll be making a video on our YouTube channel talking about World War III, who will fight who, and I'm going to dive more into the conflict between Iran and Israel. But you can see here, things are becoming more intense between the two. And of course, I also making a video right after this presentation on how the world is coming closer and closer to a threat of a nuclear war. When the whole conflict began between Russia and the US on the territories and the invasion occurred in Ukraine, I have been saying this is going to become nuclear. We have UK giving uranium ammunition to Ukraine, which gives the same effect, of course, not in the same magnitude, but it's already have radioactive contamination being shot to Russia. Russia also seems to be using the same kind of ammunition. And for you guys to know, there's a lot of countries that are walking away or no longer agreeing to follow the guidelines for the no expansion of nuclear capacity. South Korea is one of them. Russia is already going back on some agreement with the US about not putting nuclear missiles in Europe. So the chance of a nuclear war is coming closer and closer, and I don't see any diplomatic attempts or any diplomacy between the parties trying to solve this in a way that doesn't escalate to a war. And there's more headlines on this. US kicks off the first nuclear war game since Russia-Ukraine war. And that was pretty much it. So a little recap: ban on exports of Russia, the BRICS expansion trying to undermine the dollar, USA versus Hong Kong in terms of the banking system. USA is cutting the on-ramp of ramp from crypto. Hong Kong is picking this slack. There's money flowing to Europe because central banks in Europe are no longer trusting their funds to be held in America. Europe starts to approve the MiCA regulation. Apple became a bank. Twitter is becoming a broker. Gary Gensler on the hearing got shredded. There's an attempt to create a new global currency, and war may become nuclear. If you want to find out more about those things, please consider joining the Academy. The only way to join the Academy is by booking a call with us. We have two versions of the Academy. One is you have access only to the recordings. You can contact us. We can tell you how to get there. And if you want to be part of Academy Live, the only way to get there is by going to a conversation with me. And that's it for today. Now we're going to be handling the floor to you guys and try to answer your questions. Well, we got a full house today. Tony's here as well. Tony Chocoloni, Roz, and Jack. Wow. That's a new one, Tony. Thank you for being here. Roz. So for you guys who do not know, Roz, Tony, Lali, Marcus, I remember the camera, those four, they also are every morning with us. Jack is also every morning with us on Clubhouse. Marcus, most mornings in Clubhouse. Rodrigo was the only one that was here most of the time and is also with Clubhouse with us every morning. So a lot of Clubhouse people here, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Yeah. And oh, could I put in a little heart there? Tony, how are you, brother? Thank you for the surprise.
Thank you both for having me. You have quite an audience, or members of the academy here. Glad to be here with you, everybody. My name is Tony Morset. I'm a member of Crypto Vagabond, and in the morning, I love coming into in the morning and sort of with a fresh mind and get some great insight from both Marcus and others on stage. And I'm fortunate to have known these two guys, and they created a great platform where we can come in and share our thoughts and perspective of things that are going on in the world and have our questions answered. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Yeah. Tony's like, sometimes he's there before me in the morning, so is Marcus. But I think it's the first time you guys seen Tony. Ross also is always with us, a member of the Academy. Maria has always been here with us. Lali is also. And for Lali, she has to wake up at 3 in the morning to be with us in Clubhouse. I don't know how she does it, but thank you, Lali, for being there. I wonder if there's any question, guys. This was just not exactly a presentation, just like a few refresher on the headlines for the month. I'm going to be doing this every last Wednesday, so you guys can get because it's easy for you to lose track of when this happened, what happened. So we just thought of like making like a presentation where we give what happened, what was the most important news, at least according to us, on the last Wednesday. So any questions, anyone? I'm going to be making, go ahead, Georgi.
Hi guys, Boof. Let me just
share your screen.
No, I'm not gonna share my screen. Today I had a little experience on Binance platform on my account, and I just wanted to ask you if this is something that is going on right now, or I'm just messing around with the wrong people on peer-to-peer.
What happened?
I'm gonna pull it off on my other computer. There is they told me basically, please complete your source of wealth verification. Service access may be restricted until this is finished. Have you heard something like that?
No, it's normal. It is normal. It has happened to quite a few of the accounts with the people that I know. Joaquin had to do that. I know several people have to do that. They go by country, and all they want is like whatever you have, a bank statement or bank balance, and normally it takes 6 days for them to approve. Most of the people that have done this, there's a little delay, normally a week or two, where you won't be able to transact. And then it's not that Binance wants to do this. This is like requirements from the institutions and government on Binance. So they just kind of need to do this with everyone, because what happened is Binance offers, I think, $8 million per day in crypto transactions, right? They don't want to bring that down. And they have a much lower limit when it comes to the banking transactions, but by country, they do this. And also by country, the eventually is going to ask you to re-verify your account with like your face recognition, things of that sort. But it's not because of Binance, it is because the institutions are asking them for that. There's a few options for those here, and you should make a training on that. There's a few options to, if you want to go around Binance, because Binance, I think, is working on other things. There's ThorChain, and I found out Uniswap, you can make a bank deposit to Uniswap as well. So that's one way for you to get on-ramp to crypto, get some stables, and then be able to transact on a decentralized exchange. I think as things progress, it's going to be, I think CZ has also said that once. I was listening to an interview from him. He already is aware that there will be a point within a few years where centralized exchanges are going to become unviable, and everyone's going to have to go through a decentralized exchange. So eventually we all want to go to the decentralized exchange. That's why in the academy we are trying to train or making practical trainings on how to use decentralized exchanges or looking for decentralized options. If you are in crypto, you have to understand that you're going to have to be moving what you do. Like there's no such thing like you do this today and it's going to be good for the whole year. Like it is an environment that you have to adapt and become aware. But just subject, I think you don't transact, as far as I know, you have plenty of proof for because it's just a small portion, I think, of that you're dealing in terms of crypto. So it won't be a problem for you though. Yeah.
I didn't open it, and I don't know what kind of documentation they will require, but probably, there's nothing.
No. Yeah,
Well,
it depends.
It's okay.
I think it's okay to do it. Yeah, Binance is okay to do it. So they may ask you, like, it varies from person to person. Like I know people who sold homes and they want to go to crypto, so they show the documentation that they sold their homes. In your case, I know you are an entrepreneur, so you can just show the documentation. You're gonna see what they ask of you. You submit that. They're gonna ask for, I think, 6 days. It is not gonna be done in 6 days. Just be prepared to be a week or two without being able to transact, because they're not going to be able to perform the verification within 6 days. If that happens to you, you're lucky. Okay.
And now because I'm on-ramping with Revolut, the last couple of times when I was on-ramping, Revolut is giving me like this, when I'm transacting on the peer-to-peer platform, I don't think I'm getting the wrong guy every time, but it's just be careful. This is a scam. And it gives me like a few security alerts before they approve the transaction. And there is a wait for each security alert, like a couple minutes. Then you approve, then the other one, you approve, then the other one.
Yeah.
So
Binance, you should do that. And after a while, those alerts are removed from you. Like when I start with Binance, I think the first week of Binance, I managed to get an account. For the past 3 years, I have these alerts coming to me in Binance as well on several accounts, and they give you the alert. And the reason why they do this is because it is a dangerous space. There's a lot of companies that are asking for crypto payments. I'll say 99% of the time, those are scams. So they have the obligation to make difficult by giving some minutes. The way to stop that would be, like in case of Binance, you can whitelist your address, but the more transactions you do, they diminish the guards on you because they can see that you understand what's going on. With Binance, I had a questionnaire at the first time. Like it took me like 8 minutes just to answer the questionnaire in terms of all the money. So those are the safeguards that, again, it is not that they want to do it. I think the institutions are asking them to do it. But I see as a positive. After a while, what happened with Revolut, I think you got a new account with Revolut, or it is the first time you're transacting, they're going to put those guards until they see, okay, this person, and it's not by them, it's the algorithm. The algorithm is going to say, okay, this person made, I don't know, 2 transactions per week for the past 10 weeks, no complaints, everything is fine, and then they're going to diminish the guard on you. But beginners will be receiving those guards, though.
I think it's on the Revolut side, though. I don't think it's on Binance. I think it's on Revolut side. And the thing is that they asked me, what is the purpose of the transfer? And there's a few options, and there's buy crypto, but there is at the bottom, there is others, and I always press others. And I'm not sure if I need to press the buy crypto, or I don't know.
You can put buy crypto if you like. What I do, you guys are gonna laugh. There was a time where those safeguards were in place, and you have to describe what you're doing. And me, out of fun, I have been very creative on like what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll put I'm on the red light district, you know. I'll put like just to make fun with the algorithm, but yeah, those safeguards are there, and because I'm addicted to humor, I always have fun when I have to go to those things. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'll have to finish. I'll have to finish the form. Okay.
Yeah, you have to.
All right, guys.
When we are in one-on-one to get a call, I'll share with you like a few creative things.
Okay.
That I have answered. Yeah.
I'll leave the floor to someone else.
Okay. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
In reference to the presentation, what I'm feeling about the whole thing is that everybody is scrambling to get a new monetary system in place because the dollar per se is going to crash. I mean, right now it's non-existent. It doesn't have any value. They're just resuscitating it for appearance sake until they get the system in place. What I got from that is that there's a lot of confusion and there's no real connection between everything. It's like everybody is going to their own financial camps, let's put it that way. And the groups that are forming are financially interacting monetarily, conceptually, and with their trading amongst themselves. And they're not really going out of their sphere right now. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, to an extent, yes, Evelyn. To an extent, yes.
Okay, and so now, if we have these financial factions, which is what is happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that going to be a little bit difficult for everybody in the world? Because let's say you go from the BRICS to another part of the world that is using a totally different monetary system. How do you function?
Yeah, I think there'll be the same way there'll be exchanges, but one thing is, I don't think, for instance, the BRICS deal is going to affect the regular citizen, you and I, right? The BRICS, the currency they're coming up with is for settlement among governments and large institutions. Let's say, for instance, Petrobras, which is a Brazilian company that produces petrol. If they sell petrol, let's say to China or to Iran, they would be able to receive and make the settlement on the Chinese currency. So as far as the BRICS go, they're trying to undermine not the US dollar that you and I use, but the large transactions among governments and large corporations. Does it make sense? It's not that you and I are going to be using the Chinese yuan to settle deals between, let's say, for instance, if I am in Brazil and I'm transacting with someone in China, let's just put it this way, I'm not going to be using the renminbi to purchase something from Alibaba. Like that's not what they're proposing. What they're proposing is there's this commodity, which is petrol, which is the most demanded and used commodity, the most transacted commodity, we'll say, in the globe. Now, what happened is when I don't know how many billions of barrels get sold among the BRIC nations. They're saying instead of having a settlement in the US dollar, we're going to settle with the Chinese yuan RMB. That's what I think. It is not yet coming to the level of the regular citizen. Am I making sense to you, Evelyn?
Yes, but I know of a case where there's a Canadian citizen in Mexico who could not use their credit cards or their bank to get money. And they're stranded in Mexico right now because they don't have access to their money. There's no way of exchanging.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's a real thing with what's going on. I mean, a country can cut you off if you're in there and you're not part of their banking system.
Okay, that is also happening, I think, I think you and I know, right? Even within banks in Puerto Rico was what, 3 months? You and I struggle for 3 months. I think what's happening, that's my view. I'm not sure it addresses your question, but what I see happening in my view is if you have, let's say, a Wells Fargo account, right? And you transfer into another Wells Fargo account, no problem, because it's just fake Wells Fargo money to fake Wells Fargo money. When you as a Canadian citizen are in Mexico, for instance, and you withdraw, your Canadian bank has to give up its reserves, not its fake dollar, its reserves. And I think what the banks are doing, they're delaying transaction. It's kind of what Airbnb does. How does Airbnb get money? Initially, Airbnb got money because they charge their clients today. Their clients arrive in 30 days. They pay after 24 hours of the check-in, but within that period, Airbnb have a cash flow. They have cash available to them. What I think the banks are doing is the same thing. How much can I delay this drainage? How many days can I delay the transaction so that my reserves doesn't shrink? Because to me, there's no justification, because when we move money from one bank to another, there's no money. It's just message. It's just ledger, digital ledger money and messages. And I don't see how there is a plausible excuse on the 21st century for a message to take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or in our case, 3 months. It's that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I had another experience during tax time. I do my taxes online, and I went to pay with the same credit card that I paid every year. And this year, it would not accept the payment. Not only did it not accept the payment on that site, I went to another site to do my taxes, and the same thing happened. Then I called the bank because I thought maybe the bank had something to do with it and they put a hold on my card. And that was not the case. What they told me was they had the same experience with many clients that were calling in because they had switched to GPay, and GPay at first accepted the payment and then rejected it. So there was no way you could pay.
By GPay, you mean Google Pay, right?
No, I didn't. I don't use Google Pay. I don't use any of that.
But the GPay that the bank talk about is Google Pay, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't functioning for payments.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we have to watch out for, because if you can't pay with the services that you've normally been, they just would not recognize a Visa card, any Visa card. They wouldn't recognize the credit cards. So the credit cards seem to be in fluctuation, I would say.
I have the same experience with some of my crypto cards. I'm very happy to hear this. Not happy for what's happening, but because I was trying to make transaction with some companies with my crypto card, and I thought, they know it's a crypto card. Why they're blocking my card? Why it's not going through? But when you tell me that other credit cards are going through the same issue, I now understand. I can say one thing: the world is shifting. The banking system is under turmoil, and I would say when I hear things like this, I'm so happy I'm in crypto, because crypto transaction is just seconds. It's like we don't have to worry about those permission and those like holdbacks on our transaction. I feel happy to be like 100% in crypto though.
But isn't Visa or MasterCard going into the crypto business? Like they're going
Visa
to
is trying to.
Visa, right?
Visa is going to be the first one. I think they're trying to make a move towards stablecoins. I'm not sure what stablecoins they're going to be being able to do it first, and I think it's going to vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But Visa is trying to be able to hold like stablecoins on the Visa card. Yeah.
So do you think that maybe there's a turf war between Visa and Google Pay? Is that a possibility as to why
Could be. I think what's happening is there's a lot of payment apps. You have Google Pay, you have Apple Pay, you have Venmo, you have a lot of those payment apps, and I think there must be a conflict somewhere with like what I think it's just a conflict because it is different than a bank transaction though. And in Brazil, we have only one paying app, and even that one from time to time has a cause confusion as well. Sometimes it just goes down. That's what I think could be. I could be wrong, but I think it's just too many apps. I need to understand more the technology to see what I think there's just too many apps. I see one single app trying to serve the entire, like in Brazil, we have the entire nation under one app, and sometimes it's just too many people using, and it gets kind of confused. I'm not sure if that could be I just find sometimes too many apps. I think in the US you have Venmo. Who's in the US here? Who can tell us? I have heard about 3 or 4 different apps in the US. Jack, you are
PayPal.
how many are there in the US?
Well, there's quite a few. Cash App, PayPal, Stripe, Venmo. There's probably more. Each bank, each individual bank has their own kind of way to be able to transfer out these between banks too. So,
And I have Apple Pay that's coming as well. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I think
Google
it's
Pay, yeah.
Zelle. Yeah, Zelle is the other one that I couldn't remember. Like, yeah, there's a lot of apps. I'm just wondering how is that interacting with the banking system, because I just think it's just too many apps, like too many ledgers interacting. Because given the knowledge I have with the crypto space, where there are silos of ledgers, I just wonder how all those ledgers interact. I just wonder what's happening there.
Typically,
Ready.
Jack, what?
I was just gonna say, typically there's I don't know what you would call it, but like Prime Trust owns like half of those, and the other half are owned by I don't know who else. But there's these overarching businesses that I think kind of handle those settlements.
Yeah, I remember there was a video I made on YouTube where like there was a situation with someone used I think it was Venmo or whatever, or Zelle, and that caused a problem with the banking ledger. I think this is not totally. And again, softwares, they always need upgrades, right? I see the same situation with Trezor. I have 3 browsers, 3 MetaMask, which are cloned to one another, and sometimes it doesn't work in one, it works in the other, and then sometimes it doesn't work in the other. I have to go to the other one. I think something similar is happening in terms of upgrades and with those apps, though. Let's see something on the chat. Oh, more on the Gary Gensler. Yeah. Okay. But if you have, Evelyn, any issue yourself transacting, you let me know, and I can see what we can do to solve that. What happened to the Mexican or to the Canadian people that are in Mexico?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm sending them a Western Union wire for the money so that they can get the cash to work there.
Wow.
There's just
Can they still?
They can't access any of their monies.
Not even on online bank on the computer.
Nothing.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're in a bad way.
Wow.
So I actually at 2 o'clock I have to leave because I have to contact them to get the particulars to see if that works.
And they don't use crypto, Evelyn.
No, I have to tell them to get into crypto. Yeah, they don't. They're totally ignorant about that.
Wow, I really feel sorry for those people who, because in
Well,
Brazil, there's one payment system which is PIX. I think Marcos was the one that shared that. Marcos met a guy from the Northeast. Today, if I have crypto in Brazil, I don't need bank accounts. I can use the payment system, the one payment system in Brazil, by just sending crypto to a PIX. So yeah, I think more and more people are going to see a reason to move into crypto. I think after now, what happened with those of your friends, they're going to say, okay, I understand why crypto would be of relevance.
very much so. I think we really need to minimize whatever fiat you have and convert to crypto as quickly as possible, because my feeling is that by June, come hell or high water, we're going to be in a different monetary system, whether we like it or not.
Oh, Lalis is saying here, another thing that may have happened is if they notify their bank that they want to travel. I had the same situation with a girlfriend of mine when we traveled from Europe. Even with the notification in that case, I was in a restaurant and they blocked her card. And luckily I was talking about Bitcoin to the waiter, and the waiter agreed to pay for my tab in exchange for BTC in Brazil, because the card was blocked for like 48 hours. Our first dinner was paid thanks to BTC though. Yeah, I think it's another. Yeah, and Lali also wrote here, like, do not use Venmo, the cybersecurity person. And also for Apple savings account, one thing I want to make sure people understand is, like, Apple really protects you from other companies getting your information, but don't think Apple is going to protect you from them getting your information. Like, when people buy, they want to use Apple because of the protection, but I know that Apple is protecting their own interest. They don't want other company getting my information. They can get my information anytime they want to. So don't think like, oh, they're very nice and they're protecting me. No, they're protecting their interest, which is your data from other companies though. All right. Any more questions? I think Cora also has gone through some materials. Cora?
Well, honestly, I just wanted to ask, like, about the presentation, because I think was last presentation you talk about some graph that can show you if we're gonna be in a recession or not, or if we are already in a recession. So I've seen some news that there's people losing their jobs, and I remember that one of those graph was that when there's still people losing their jobs, a lot of people losing their jobs, you are already in a recession. So maybe we're already there, like we're not going, but we're there.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. So again, there's one thing in economists saying all else equal, right? Like, if everything else works the same, this is the order of things. By my estimation, we are already on a recession, and I hope Marcos can talk here. There's a few funny indicators, and I'm making a video this week about the funny indicators. There's the inversion of the interest rate curve, which has already happened, but there's also the diminishing of the manager purchase index. But Marcos, I think a few months ago, we talked about people being laid off, but also we had a few funny indexes. Do you remember that, Marcos? So we are already in a recession, and it's only going to get worse from here onwards. Marcos, can you unmute? I think Marcos is also having some health problems. I'm not sure if he can speak. Maybe he can speak, but one one fun indicator that I'm going to give a spoiler to you guys is scored service, right? Ladies that you pay to accompany you in certain businesses. There was a guy, a friend of Marcos, that noticed, like, talked to one of them, like their businesses are diminishing tremendously. I think the court was talking about how much he was making the same time the past year and how much the business have dropped. So there's a lot of like ways for you to tell that you're in a recession that doesn't have to do with necessarily reading graphs, right? If you go to the Netherlands, for instance, and you see less people on the red light district, that will mean there's not as much money flowing around. There's the Big Mac index, which is another like indicators. So there's a lot of things that you see. People having less leisure, like people drinking less, people partying less, not wedding parties. Like there's a lot of things that can tell you that, listen, businesses are diminishing tremendously, because whenever there's a crisis, those frivolous luxury expenses are the first one that you get cut off. So I wish Marcos could come here, because when we spoke, we're like, okay, if a score tells you that her business on a recession, we are on a recession. So yeah, to me, we have been, but I think because of Biden need to be elected, and the institution that determines if you are in a recession or not is in the US. I think Biden is like using whatever leverage he can to say, listen, don't say we are under recession yet, because he needs to get reelected. So I think that's the biggest issue in the US right now. To me, we are already on a recession. Food prices going up by 20% in Europe, interest rate at 4%, bank collapsing, Credit Suisse. Look, 2008 recession, UBS got bailed out by the banks, by the government in Switzerland. Credit Suisse on the past, between October and last month, got bailed out twice. You got major banks in Europe got bailed out twice. It got bailed out once in the crisis of 2008. You see first bank collapse, the confiscation of the signature bank. So what was the main mark of us being in a recession in 2008 was the bank collapse, right? Lehman Brothers and so on. Look how many bank collapses just in this past 2-3 months. Look how many bailouts have occurred. Credit Suisse alone here in Europe got bailed out twice. Once in October, got bailed out now a few months ago, and then got taken by UBS. So if all this bank collapse, which mimics or rhymes with what happened in 2008, is not the evidence that we're in a crisis, then I don't know what is a bank crisis or economic crisis, though. And again, the layouts mean that we're in the middle of the crisis, if all else is equal. So yes, to me, we are already on that recession. It's just that those who can say we are in a recession for sure are not doing that because of manipulation or that's defending somebody else's interest. So does it make sense, Cora?
Yes. I just wanted to say that sometimes I feel like I am in a movie waiting to see what's going to happen next. Honestly, yes. Do you have any spoiler? Any prediction? Or anything like that?
But the only thing I can say to you is the biggest spoiler is banks will become nationalized. I don't see any other way out of this. Like Credit Suisse is nationalized, UBS in Switzerland is nationalized. I don't see any other way for this to end in any other place. Like, and to me in the US, the fact that you can take an instrument and get a loan from the Federal Reserve at the face value, not at the market value, that to me shows that there's no more capitalism, there's no more market. If the government can decide that the price of financial instruments, this is price manipulation in my view, and you're going to be giving loans, and the instrument I'm discussing here is the same instrument that caused the crisis of 2008, which is mortgage-backed securities. So all this rescue the banks, because the idea that you can take a commercial bank can take MBS, the Federal Reserve, get loans at the face value, these are rescuing the banks, which is the same bailout that happened in 2008. So all of those rescue and all those things to me is like, is a nationalization of banks. I think banks will become nationalized. There's no other way though. That's the biggest spoiler I have for you guys.
Thank you.
Go for it, Ellen. Go for it.
Just a question. As you know, we're moving property. We haven't done that yet. That's why I haven't been in touch with you. But once we get that money and everything, we'll be putting it in the bank or crypto, hopefully. But is it a good time or a bad time to get a loan from the bank now? Because I was going to get a 20,000 loan.
I think so. It would depend on how you use that loan. I think Marcus, are you there? I don't think Marcus
I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah,
I'm here.
Ellen's asking about loans, and I know there are different loans, right? Like, I think it would depend on the terms and conditions of the loan, Ellen. Like, if you're getting,
it's just a, sorry to interrupt, but it's just a loan that they offer you and they don't even ask you what for. I had one before.
Is it a personal loan?
Is it a personal loan or a business loan?
Personal.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't do a personal loan unless you have extreme like confidence in what you're doing with it, right? So if you're going to take the personal loan and you're going to buy Bitcoin with it, I think that's a mistake personally.
No.
We've
It's
seen
just a
people
bridge
that
over the sale of the house. Just no.
I'd have to know more, I guess, but so do you know the reason why? Do you know the reason why personal versus business loans, the difference? A personal loan attaches to your whatever, your national ID, your tax ID, your social security number. A business loan, if it's done right, is attached to the business ID. It doesn't stay with you. It's totally separate. That's the reason why. Go ahead, Boof. You have a question.
No, just because I think she's taking the loan until she's like, how long you intend to have that loan? Like, you tend to pay with the settlement of the house? Is that it, Ellen?
Oh,
the
it's
short
only
term?
going to, yeah, until the house is sold. It'll be 2-3 months, something like that. So definitely going to be paid back. So there's no risk. But is it a risk if the bank collapses or something? Are they going? How do they get the money from me for that
No,
loan? I mean, do I get away without having to pay it?
No.
Or is
Okay,
this
so if it is a loan for you to do a few things before you sell your house, because I think that is different. Like, it's a short term, you're going to be able to liquidate the loan. I would say in that case, it's okay. Like, but if you want to take a loan to, like, for a long term, let's say a year, 2 years, we don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. Then I'll say, I hear, no, that's my view. I wonder what Marcus' view is now that he finds information. Marcus, what is your view now?
I mean, it sounds, well, I have a question. So my view is, if the worst came to worst, are you taking the full loan out, the full 20,000? Is that what you're taking?
It will be put straight into my bank account like last time. Yes.
But the full amount, correct?
Yes. Not used. It'll stay there. It's just for emergencies because I need it for living.
In that case,
house is sold.
I guess in that case, it's probably okay.
Yeah,
Thank
this is my view
Short
too.
term.
It's a short term. She's selling her house. I know a bit more in context. If it's like short term, 3 months, tops 4 months, I'll say it's fine. And once it goes beyond that, you need to,
Okay. Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Thanks.
And I like the fact that there's no collateral as well. As like, it's just personal. Like, there's no collateralization. So yeah, no, go for it, Alan. Yeah. All right. We are 4 minutes in to the hour. I wonder if there's any more questions. I want to also talk to Alan. Alan, welcome back, man. Has been what, two years, Alan? How are you? Alan Harris.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Welcome back, man. How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, not bad. I just haven't been investing in crypto for the last little while because I don't know, I've just lost so much. It was devalued quite so much, you know. So I'm just been sitting back and watching it and just leaving what I had there. yeah, just been working on my business. So, but I thought I would sort of like come and have a little look and see what's happening, you know, especially with what's happening in America with the US dollar and stuff like that. So, and I was wondering how, like if you use Binance, I generally trade through Binance, how the problem with the US dollar is going to affect me buying or selling crypto.
I'm not sure I understand. Like if you use Binance, you can always, because you are UK based, right? I'm still in UK, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're still transacting with Binance, and you're transacting your British pounds into Binance, and there you're getting, I presume, some stable coins, and then you're transacting crypto, or from your British pound you're transacting to crypto. How are you doing it?
British pounds to crypto.
Yeah, I know, but which crypto? Stable coins or directly the crypto that you want to have?
Directly the one I want to have.
Okay. No, whatever happens to the dollar, it won't affect you because you are UK based and you have an account with Binance, which is like pounds to Binance, and then pounds to whatever crypto you want to get. And then if I remember correctly, we set a cold storage for you, right? And you're withdrawing from the Binance to your cold storage, or not anymore?
There's still some in Binance just sitting there, but there's some in cold storage. So, okay,
let's see what I can do to get your funds from Binance to the cold storage. That's the only place that is it is safe. If you want, you can. I think because the first time you're gonna get a message or email with a link where you can book a call. Let's see if you can get your funds from Binance. If you still want to keep your crypto, unless on liquidator, but if you want to still keep it in crypto, I'd rather you have that on a cold storage and not on Binance. Now, if you want to liquidate it, then it is different. But if you want to hold your crypto, I would rather you have that crypto on a cold storage.
Yeah. But Binance is based in America, isn't it?
No.
Where is Binance?
Nobody knows. So there's Binance.us that is based in the US, and I think that one is facing some trouble. There's Binance.com. I think there is some. So Binance doesn't have a headquarters. I think they have registry in different jurisdictions. I think they got a registry in Dubai. They got a registry in Seychelles. Marcos, are you familiar with the places where Binance got?
They're in France too. They just opened in France as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have a headquarters, but they get, and the way it works in Europe, like once Binance is registered in France, they can interact with all European countries that use the euro. I know they were trying to do something in Dubai, and I think there is Seychelles is one register. So like they have different they're registered in different locations, but there's no such thing as a headquarters. CZ doesn't believe in headquarters, and I agree with him, because if you look at Crypto Vagabonds, for instance, Mia works with us and she's in Brazil. Buana works with us and she's African. Cora works with us and she is in Venezuela. Marcos is a huge partner of us. I think he's somewhere sometimes he's in America, sometimes Central America, sometimes in South America. So our headquarters is Zoom or our laptops. So I think I agree with CZ that the concept of an office or headquarters is obsolete already. So we're coming close to the end of if already 1 minute passed. I want to hold Cora today simulation of a transaction on the app, Cora, which was really cool. We didn't do Friday. And unless there's some more questions, welcome back, Alan. Please keep coming back and let's have a call. Same thing for other first timers here. Tony, please keep coming back. We appreciate your presence here, and hopefully we have you in the academy from some time as well. Lali, CV. I'm curious, what is CV, Lali, if I may ask? Oh.
Crypto Vagabonds, booth. Crypto
Vagabonds. That's what it means. Okay. Good to know.
There's a question there.
On the chat?
Mhm. From her.
Ooh,
Yeah,
She
selling
asked
a home
about
for
selling a
BTC.
home for, it
Mhm.
happens.
It
It
happens
happens,
a lot more than we would believe. Like I know a lot of people have sold their, not a lot, but like a lot more than what I imagined possible. Like I know a lot of people who just sold their home directly to BT for a BTC transaction. That was, and some of them are famous. Some of them are having their YouTube channel. They have like following on Instagrams, like. And I haven't met anyone who regretted selling their homes to BTC yet. I haven't met the person like, oh, was a bad deal for me though. But they're out there. Yeah. All right. So I think this is it for today, guys. Thank you for your presence. Today was a full house. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna see some of you guys tomorrow on Clubhouse. Some of you are gonna see tomorrow on the Academy. So, and some others on a call. Thank you, Roz, for being here. Roz is always at work, but she's listening. Thank you. Appreciate you all. See you all. Cora and Rodrigo, let's make a transaction. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Tony. Tony Cioccoloni.